Okay, we are recording with Frank Ungaro and Nicholas Alexander Karadza. And Frank always has a lot of stuff going on. So look at this list. I have Ugly Pike Pilsner, BJJ, because I like talking to you about that. It's cars, a property you have for sale, Ugly Pike podcast. We need to talk about that. And you want to talk about some Bitcoin stuff?
We should talk about the podcast.
What's the latest on the podcast?
Well, we signed a deal. We're now part of the Fishing Canada TV show. So we're officially paid podcasters. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you guys get paid for this, but
no,
I get paid for it.
No, you're a professional. We're amateurs.
I'm a professional angler and a professional podcaster officially.
You're a professional angler because you go into tournaments and...
No, but I mean, I have to fish for content that feeds the show.
So you're a self-declared professional angler. Hey man, however you want to call it. Okay, we'll just put all the cards on the table here.
Well, let's go muskie fishing and let's see how you do without my expertise and guidance.
Never mind muskie fishing. I couldn't cast a line off a dock. All right.
And I know enough about muskies that they're not easy to catch. So maybe we can just
when you got to lift it out of the net, you're going to shit your pants, right? Because it's full of teeth and it's this giant thing and it hates you and it's mean and you got to get into the gills to lift it. It's a real...
Maybe we can get Nick pissed off at the side of the boat and just throw him in and he'll dive down and grab one of them. Does that ever work?
I had a really good boat promotion for our beer that I'll tell you guys about off microphone. We'll get canceled if I talk about it. So it's one of those things that'll either propel the beer company into outer space
or shut it down
or completely get us canceled from everything on earth.
I think you should tell us. But
I can't tell you now.
The Ugly Pike podcast. How are things going with it? How did you get picked up? How do you become a professional podcaster?
It's really funny because been working with you guys for a long time now, just, the real estate thing and part of the network and got a lot of different things going on with properties and jiu-jitsu and different businesses. And I've mentioned my buddy Joe Panessa a couple times on the show, but he's a really close friend of mine. And I was on the phone with him in the parking lot and I talked to him about a lot of things. I do capital raises too for startups and companies, and we're working on some projects right now. And so we talk a lot. And I used to always say, let's do this, let's do that. And he's like, no, the podcast, the podcast is the way for you. And I'm like, you're crazy. No way, but he always knew this was going to be the big ticket for us. And it's really turning into that. So the Fishing Canada TV show on TV since 1986, they've got 3.5 million viewers every Saturday morning. They're the highest rated show on any Canadian network on Saturday morning. So they're the kings of Canadian media for fishing.
I feel like I've had that on
I've seen it on Saturday morning.
Yeah. It's the old guy and the little guy, so Pete and Angelo, and now they're, my bosses, which is crazy.
So they reached out to you?
Back
or did you stalk them? I could partially see you just going to some building, waiting outside to talk.
So you know how it happened? This is a funny story. I told it just yesterday, but we were at a fishing trade show and I was walking with my buddy through the parking lot, and one of the co-hosts, Pete Bowman, was off to the side with his wife. And we walked by and I said to my buddy, was that Pete Bowman? And his wife heard us and she yells, yeah, it was. And I felt so dumb. I walked over and I said, sorry, Pete, I'm a big fan. I host a little show called the Ugly Pike Podcast. He goes, I know what it is. I've heard it before. And I'm like, what, really? Then we got to talking, big UFC fan, big jiu-jitsu fan. And then we were invited on the show after that. So we got invited to host Outdoor Journal Radio on AM radio, which is what their podcast has become. It was an AM radio show. Now it's a podcast. And we were the first people to ever co-host that show in studio in Oshawa, and then they were on our show, and then we went back on their show, and then what happened was they approached us and said, being the pioneers that they are, they want to pioneer a new Canadian outdoor podcast network. So they're launching a podcast network, and they wanted our show to be one of the flagship shows, and so they reached out to us for that, and a couple months later, and contracts back and forth and this and that. The network has launched. It's called the Outdoor Journal Radio Network. And away we go. The really cool thing is that they're going to start cross-promoting this podcast network on their TV show in the fall. And I think when that happens, we're going to get a massive bump.
No way. You are going to get a massive bump.
So 4 million, 3.5 million anglers who probably, 99% of them drink beer are going to be exposed to our brand. So right now, usually beer companies that are new, we're ramping up for summer, and we did ramp up for summer, but we're ramping up for that moment in the fall where we think it's just going to go parabolic.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, if everybody stays out of jail.
Yeah.
All right, but we're going to talk about that later time.
Oh yeah, we're
good.
talking about that today.
We've got bail money.
Okay, all right.
Just for the record, it's not you going.
It's not me going.
Yeah,
No,
so
no.
it's just
Or us.
we're
It's
clear.
no one.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
Nobody in this
table. Jesus. What was I going to say? That just threw me.
Show Fishing Canada.
Yeah, no, the exposure on TV like that, it just gives you authority because your podcast is going to ramp. The beer is going to get everything's going to kind of ramp up on this. The authority that is still assigned to people on TV is absolutely massive.
What do fishermen do? Do they listen to podcasts while they fish too? Is it music or is it silence? Like I know you're not playing music out loud, but are they listening to other stuff on headphones and stuff?
You know what? Honestly, it's a really cool question. There's two schools of thought, and there's anglers that want music, and there's anglers that want to get away from everything digital when they're in the boat. Right? It's very much about me and you and what we're doing and the sights and sounds of something that doesn't have a power switch.
That's fair. I can appreciate
want
that.
Tunes, and then some people want tunes when they're not catching. Put this song on, because when I put this song on, we catch. Like we were in North Bay last year. We were on Lake Nipissing, and I'll show you the video later. We fished through 2 days of absolute hell, waves and water, and just it was insane. And then the third day, the sun came out, and I've got a video of us headed to a spot, and we cranked "Have a Cigar," Pink Floyd. And my buddy, the guide, Nico, turns, and you can see him in the video. He looks at me, does this, and I look at him and I do this.
This is the day.
And we get to the spot, and boom, we got a fish. We got a couple fish, but
and so now, do you play that song every time you?
We did this year. We did, and
did it work?
Crushed.
Oh shit! Yeah, so you guys have a good song.
We had a great.
Maybe the fish hear the music. Is that what it is?
That's another thing. People are saying, are the fish listening? Do the fish hear the music? Do they hear this? Do they hear that? And that's a whole nother debate.
Way back, my buddies took me fishing because I said I can't do this. I just can't. I started reading in the boat. They were insulted.
Oh wow,
that was number one.
That's what you caused. How big is that thing?
That's it's I don't know, mid 40 incher. I really hold them nicely. So
there's an art.
There's another one right there.
The way you hold the fish is it you can't see your arms to see how extended they are, so the fish is actually closer to the camera. Is
Precisely.
that the key?
Yeah,
precisely.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I hold them really well. I've learned this with fishermen.
Every angler does that, right? We know how to. But I mean, look, these are.
Do professional anglers do that?
Professional anglers do it.
Oh, that's what makes them professional.
I'm a professional angler.
That looks big.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If anyone else caught that fish, it's a fish of a lifetime. We're just going for the world record. So anything less than, a contender is fun. But
so what's your dream catch?
Well, this fish at 60 inches.
Can you come to Croatia? Remember I was telling you about the tuna in between these two islands that gets shipped off to Japan? Can we? Because apparently, Nick, remember how much they said, they didn't tell us a dollar value, but apparently they're selling these tunas for something extraordinary.
So a good bluefin tuna will go for $25 a pound US. If
he's going to get big in this fisherman podcast world, maybe he does like out of Canada things, just as a little bonus kind of thing. We go to Croatia, we get a boat. He catches the tuna, and maybe there's a business here where we can just spend more time in Croatia. He catches the tuna, we just kind of like supervise.
Yeah, that sounds good. We know the guy building the boat right now, actually.
We actually
He's been building it for 5 or 6 years.
It's an old fisherman, but it's an old fishing boat.
Yeah, that he wants to take us on to go catch tuna.
He wants to go to Italy.
Yeah, but we're going to catch tuna on the way.
He's been restoring this boat.
Where you want to be right now.
He's been restoring this boat for like 3 years. His brother said he'll never, maybe 5. Yeah. He'll never get on the boat past one of the islands that's close to us.
Yeah.
But he wants to take the boat to Italy. I'm on board. Carol has approved the trip. I'm allowed to go on board as her husband into the middle of the Adriatic on this boat. We're going. I don't know if you're coming. I'm going.
As long as we stay close to islands, I can swim over to an island.
I'm going across the Adriatic. When this boat's ready, it might be this year. And you know how they operate. It could be this year, like we're going Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so
let's go. I'll vomit the whole time, but I'll be happy.
I'll vomit.
Really? Why you?
I'm not good on big water. But I've got these like new things where apparently they work really well. These bracelets or whatever you wear.
I've seen people with them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But sometimes the Adriatic, in between the islands where we are. Sometimes it's so still. I know out in the open water it won't be like this, but between the islands, sometimes it's so still. The water's like glass. They call it ulja. Yeah. Like it's just oil. It looks like oil.
Nice.
And you're just whipping along on it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's nice when it is like that.
Yeah. Frank's on board. This is actually a good idea.
I want to get I'd love to get a place in Croatia.
I would like to do some tuna fishing. I'd like to try it out.
So like if we're there, if you came, tuna are such huge fish. If you came, realistically, could we do this? If we
need a charter.
Yeah, we would.
100%.
Yeah, but
you need gear that can land a
that's what I'm talking
900-pound fish. If you
but they have fishing charters all day long.
How long?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What time of the day do you go tuna fishing? Is it any time?
It probably depends on the time of year and you know what the structure's like. But people typically fish for tuna 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an all around the clock thing. Yeah.
I think Frank and Josip on this boat together, because Josip will know the equipment to get.
Yeah, Josip doesn't drink beer, so we'll have to, we'll fix that.
I think he would.
But then it doesn't matter. He'll drink everything. We can, we can
beer
mix and
can's
match.
got a fish on it. If this guy's a fisherman,
He's a general from the army in the war there.
No
this
shit.
guy, oh yeah, this guy's amazing. The stories this guy has.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Really cool.
So the ugly
That
pike
would be an adventure.
I just love the idea.
Well, that's going to be the first out of town show that's going to go on the Canadian Fishing Network.
There you go.
That'll be the first one.
I'm just thinking about this. Like, don't even joke about this. We have to do this. If we when we go this year, we should ask them, hey, look, where do we get the equipment? What boat? Who do you rent them from? Because just to fly in Frank and do this.
Sometimes it takes a half a day to land one of these fish, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, but
they're different. Sometimes they come right in, and sometimes you're 4 or 5 hours.
You guys are going to be doing the fishing.
Really?
I'll be drinking on the boat.
Fair enough.
I'll be learning.
4 or 5 hours to get them in.
Sometimes you're going to, like, these fish can be 1,000 pounds.
I've watched the YouTube videos when they sharpen the knife and slice them all up.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, they got to bleed them after and do some things so that you preserve the integrity of the meat. Just like hunting, same thing, right?
How do you get that fish in the boat? There's like a little
You have to have a hoist. Yeah, you have to have either a manual pulley or something that's powered.
Have you ever gone tuna fishing?
Or sometimes at the end of the boat, they'll have a hatch and you'll get your gaff and like 3 guys will hoof it in. It depends. You can catch a bluefin that's 300 pounds. You can catch one that's 1,300 pounds, so you never know.
Where's your dream place to go fishing?
South America, probably in Brazil, because there's a fish called an arapaima, and that's my number one bucket list fish.
Why?
It's a dinosaur. It's the most beautiful fish, and one of the cool things about this fish is
it beautiful because it's ugly? Because you seem to like ugly fish.
You'll see.
You like these ugly old dinosaur fish.
You'll see. But like when you get these fish, they're like they breathe air. So you'll see them. You'll go into
on land.
You'll go to these bogs. You're not in the big ocean, and you'll see something come up and take a breath, or whether it's taking a breath or expelling air. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a vet. I don't know. I'm only a professional angler.
You are. We're going to get you the t-shirt.
And, so they got these awesome red scales. See those red scales?
Oh, yeah.
And they're just massive dinosaurs, right?
What's the name of it?
Arapaima.
Huh.
So you don't have to go out into the big water. You can go into these little backwater bogs and stuff and catch these absolute
Yeah, that looks like a snake's going to come and attack you as you're holding that fish.
Yeah, this is the fish for me. So you get them in South America and they're just fantastic. So that's my
what's your ultimate catch like what are you most proud of fishing to date?
My 50-inch class muskies. Yeah.
And where do you catch those?
All over Ontario.
Some favorite lakes?
Favorite lake is Lac Seul, up 5.5 hours north of Thunder Bay. So we go up there usually once a year. We try St. Lawrence River, Ottawa River.
You're pulling your boat up there, or
no? We get
you rent.
We'll go and get either rent boats, or these days everybody wants to guide us. Like everybody wants us in their boat because they want the exposure, right, from the show. Because
awesome.
In the muskie world, if you have a lodge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cater to muskie anglers, you want us there. You want us talking about it. Sometimes we talk about our trips for years because they're memorable, right? So
your buddy there who said you got to do the podcast, why did he push you into the podcast?
I don't know. He's a real smart marketing guy. He does a lot of things, a very successful guy. And he just said, like, this is it. This is it. He said it for years to me. And I'm like, you're nuts. Nobody gets paid to podcast, and it's fishing, and we don't have a very big audience, and this is such a niche space, right? Muskie fishing. But what's happening is now we're diversifying the things we talk about in the show a little bit, kind of like you guys. And now we have access to all of the multi-species anglers through the Fishing Canada TV show. So I think that's going to bring a lot of people that would not have otherwise found our show into our circle.
So pumped for you.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Just knowing you and watching you over the years, this is exciting, man.
I mean, who knew? But you know what? Monetize your passions. Like, your life, your terms. We joke about it all the time. It's on the wall. Like,
no, we joke about it, but it's serious.
No, it's 100% serious. Yeah. We joke about it because I think a lot of people just look at that and go, "Oh, but I need a job." Okay, fine. I did my time in the corporate world. I did my time. But then I met you guys, and it's like, fuck this.
Yeah, I did my time.
You were primed.
It was a sentence.
You were primed to say fuck this with or without us. It just we happened to cross paths at
probably, but financially, I wasn't able to until I met you guys. And
So let's talk about the property next. I want to ask about Perth in a second because I see that.
Yeah, Perth Combat Club. Yeah.
But what's going on with you have a property for sale?
I wanted to pick your brain. So I was on the phone again with my buddy Joe last night. Oh no, it wasn't my buddy Joe. It was my real estate agent, my buddy Mesh Mysteries. The guy's a beast. And
a beast, just like a big guy, or BJJ?
No, he's a great agent. He's amazing real estate agent. So I actually met this guy through my crypto group. We've become very close, and I asked him for help with this property because my two partners want to sell. I don't, and so now it's like, if I sell it at X, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to be happy. But the market's not giving me X, so we're expecting this week that we're going to get some less than exciting numbers come in and offers, and part of me wants to get another partner and keep on keeping on for another 5 years. We get different cycles with rates and everything, and prices go up, and then part of me just wants to get out of this property because it's been nothing but a headache. And so I'm just really torn right now. Do I take less money than I want, than I know I can get in a few years, and then reinvest that maybe into like pre-construction real estate, which is where I'm kind of leaning towards because I'm getting sick of tenants and managing properties. Now I could get a company to do that. I get that, but I'm looking for less work these days, right? Or do I get this partner in and keep this pain in the ass property going, probably make it an Airbnb again, but hire a management company to run it. So I'm at a real crossroads here and I don't quite know what to do. I feel like both options are bad options.
In your life, what does this property serve? Like a long-term, like why would you want to keep it? What is this?
Well, because I feel like when rates go down, asset prices will go up.
Okay.
As they do. When the money printers turn on, asset prices will go up as they do. And if I wait 3 to 5 years, invariably, I'm going to make probably another $300,000 in this property. I would think it's a high value property. It's $1 million property.
And to find another partner who has enough liquid cash in today's world,
I think I have someone waiting.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well,
Okay, so you have.
He wouldn't need $1 million. He would need to. It's encumbered, right? We have a mortgage, so he wouldn't need to. He would just need to buy out my partner's positions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's not. We're not talking $1 million.
Okay. It sounds like there's a good amount of equity in there. That's what I'm wondering.
There's a decent amount of equity with the appreciation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the short term, if you did sell it, there's going to be capital gains to pay for.
Yeah. Why do you want to? Why?
Yeah,
why
I don't want to sell.
No. So why is he looking at selling it now? He just wants to cash out, or is there problems with the property?
No, my partners need money right now.
Oh,
yeah.
My one partner's retiring. Would just like to cash out and put her feet up. My other partner.
If there's no problems with the property, and that's like.
My other partner's Doug. I think you've met him
cool.
before.
Yeah.
He used to come with me to all the events and stuff like that, and he's kind of in the same boat. It's just.
It sounds like it's been a pain in the ass to them. It's
been a pain in the ass to all of us.
Why? Just because of the tenant turnover?
Because I live closest to the house. I got to do all the work.
Yeah. That's how it works. Yeah,
dude. And it's just now with everything going on, it's impossible. So
yeah, your life's just too busy.
It's too busy to be mowing lawns and answering calls at 8, 9 at night because the Airbnb people didn't read the sheet that we gave them on how to turn the freaking lights on. You know what I mean?
And if you got the money, even though you would pay tax, do you have a better place to put the money or somewhere?
Well, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, I want to do some improvements to my house. I think that's a solid investment. I want to maybe buy a little more Bitcoin. I don't know. I'm still buying
selling this property. Does it jeopardize your long-term financial future in any way?
I feel like it does because I feel like if I hold on to this house, it's going to be worth much more.
What if it's not? What if it doesn't? In 3 to 5 years, it's worth the same.
Then selling now is actually a win-win. But that's a big what if. Like, you guys are smart guys. I mean, how do you not see real estate prices in 3 to 5 years being higher than right now? How does that happen? Tell me how.
No, we're with you. The dollar is going to continue to lose value. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I think the timing of it can, I mean, everything they've done, they've managed to kick the can down the road a lot further than I thought they would years ago.
And Greg Foss thought they would. One and done.
Yeah.
One and done.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Foss,
about
I hope
that.
you're listening to this.
So there's...
we love you, Foss. We love you,
I love
Foss.
the guy.
Yeah.
I love the guy.
But yeah, so that's what I mean. So like, I just don't know, but
I don't forget things, eh? That was like
I
2 years
forgot
ago,
that.
a year and a half ago, you said that on your show.
yeah, but I that's what I mean. So I don't see it, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see it long term, like 5 years. It's a tough sell for me to think that it doesn't move, right? But but in 2 years, well,
But as you said,
because we have to catch up. Sorry, we have to catch up to long term trends.
Yeah.
We so overshot the long term trend that we're just catching up. But by that time, like we're now kind of coming down. Even if we level out here, we would level out here, and then it would take us a little bit to
It's
catch
a year
the
and a half
long-term-
to 2
Yeah, and then we're just kind of like on par with where we would have been
Yeah.
without the spike and valley that we got,
100%.
right? So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think you're
So-
right.
so
That's why I say 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, threes, I guess, to me, there's maybe, I think it's a small risk, but there's risk that maybe it doesn't move too much by that time. But 5, how are they not injecting liquidity into the market in 5 years? Like I that to me is almost impossible.
Me too.
But someone like Frank who has so much going on, it's easier for me to say sell the property because he has so much.
Well, from a lifestyle
he's so
decision.
capable. He has a business. He's the beer, the podcast. There's so much happening.
But you shouldn't be dealing with that. If you have that much stuff happening, you can keep the property. You have to work it into the numbers. Then maybe it doesn't make sense.
But if we keep the property, it's going to be different. Like I'm going to hire a management company.
That's what I'm saying. You have to get.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. Don't be taking those. Why?
But then if he gets a management company,
Because I'm
then
cheap.
you know
what we started doing it just a couple of years ago. Started getting someone to cut the grass just at my house. My neighbors were like, "Who the hell are you? Like you're complete just the front yard because in the back we don't even have grass." And they're like, "What's wrong with you? Like you're a completely able to
I
do
love
this."
cutting my grass though.
And I don't mind it either, but
probably have a proper lawn.
I have a very big property and I love getting on that.
meditative.
It's like break for me.
and that's and if you want to do that, and I like going out in my yard and I'm like trimming bushes and stuff, and the same thing, like I'll put on a podcast and it just allows me to tune out.
Yeah,
I like
for
that.
sure.
The grass component though for me is like it's funny, the littlest thing, but it's to take it off my mind and not have to ever think about it. I'm like, that alone was worth the cut. Like I don't even think of it. It's just always done.
Yeah.
There's management companies that will Airbnb it for you. They like specialize in.
I have a student that does it for a living right now.
Oh, okay.
So I have a guy that I trust that, let me just put this on mute. I didn't even realize, but I have a kid that I trust that would be a great candidate to run that property. So,
and even beyond him, there's other people. They'll take a fee to do it.
Yeah.
So, and you have someone who will buy them out.
Work into it the price that cut, like over the next 5 years. If you take a 5-year window, what are you going to need to do? Because if you're going to have to do a roof and a furnace,
no
and
furnace, yes. Roof, no.
So
Furnace,
but you just work some of those things into it and get a realistic number. Because then
How's the foundation on this house? How old is it?
There's no basement. This is a cottage property.
Oh, got it.
And
Got it.
down by the lake in Niagara on the Lake.
Okay,
So,
so he
none of
doesn't
them
have-
have basements.
the
other thing is
by
that-
the lake in Niagara and the lake, those properties are like,
Dude,
so those sometimes you just,
bulletproof.
sometimes you don't want to give those ones up. Yeah.
In general rule is you just don't want to sell assets.
Here's the other side of the story. The guy that wants to come in works with a real estate developer. And what they do is they buy properties, they subdivide them, they build gorgeous, custom designed, styled homes and sell them for a shit ton of money. So eventually down the road, taking this property, shit canning it, and then putting up something great and, getting
I'd like
$1 million.
to keep that option. You didn't tell us it was a jewel of a location until right now.
It's pristine.
Oh,
right by the water.
Then that's a keeper.
that changes it.
That's a keeper. Because what I was going to say is when you said your financial future would be better off if you kept the property because it would go up, that's nice. But if your financial future wouldn't change that greatly because you have other stuff going on, then sell it. But if this is a jewel of a location,
It is.
oh man, then you just want to keep the property.
Yeah, unless it's a pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass, but with a little bit of elbow grease, I could make it not a pain in the ass.
I think that's what it is. Now it gets to that point because we had properties for a while that we're still happy we have today, but they started to become a pain in the ass because we had more stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then that's why we just had to offload a lot of that stuff to other people.
I mean, if there was an easy button to sell it, we would have sold it that one day when we were on the phone together. We would have sold that one.
Yeah, for sure.
And thank God there wasn't. So
that's the way I would look. That's the way I.
The only
I would
downside is if he says, with a little bit of elbow grease, does that mean Frank's getting pulled in here and it's like 6 months of a disaster?
No,
you just got to gauge it.
It's not. No, I'll tell you about that after what the elbow grease involves, but it's nothing too crazy. So I
Frank's
feel
one of the few guys where we have a lot of conversations after the podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just systems, man. Get the right
Yeah.
systems in place, and if it's not, if it's not detrimental in some way, then get the right systems in place.
You know why you're in,
because you can always sell it after.
That's the difference
Like if you don't
between
sell
someone
it,
like you and someone like me. You guys are like, I think too small time. Like thinking about, cutting the lawn and doing this, like systems is where it's at. And the more people I talk to that are successful doing this, they have the systems, and I never really got to that level. We lost a bunch of our properties because they were RTOs. We had to let them go, right? We had to honor our deals.
Yeah.
Right?
We patted ourselves on the back making $25,000 on a sale. We did it.
None of
we
us
are the professional real estate.
None of us would be sitting here talking to each other right now if we had kept all those properties, right? We were buying houses in Hamilton for $250.
$250, selling them for $310, thinking we're a hero.
Moguls.
Look what we did.
well, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely saw the 30% yearly appreciation coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
So.
We only budgeted 6% a year on those RTO deals.
And that was aggressive. A lot was 5.
Those were
You
your
can't
numbers.
win in real estate. When it was appreciating at like 15%, we would get in shit from investors who were like, I can't believe I'm leaving money on the table selling this to rent own. Now that prices are soft, investors are like, I can't believe prices are appreciating faster. It's just like no win. You can just never win. Either it appreciates too fast or it appreciates too slow.
There's people that are selling properties now. They've had them for 5-6 years. So there's a bucket load of equity in them.
Right.
And it's just like, I really lost out. Like I didn't sell it like right at the peak. And I'm like, look, you're banking however many hundreds of thousands of dollars because you're not banking an extra 50. No one's crying for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
first world problems.
They might cry when they cut that capital gains check, though.
we can talk to Trudeau about that. Frank's actually going to go. He's on his way to Ottawa now to go to.
I was talking about this with
Actually, you don't have to go to Ottawa. Freeland is in Toronto.
Polyev is in St. Catharines today.
Oh,
no way. Is
Yeah.
it? Why is he going around the country giving speeches? He's ramping up for this.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was just talking about this the other day with somebody. The return we get on our tax dollars here, we don't have to get into
Oh my
this,
God.
but it's just
You're gonna
it's
barf.
getting lower. It's getting lower.
Crazy.
I haven't heard barf in a long time.
Okay, let's.
You might see some.
Okay, so we got through the.
We keep talking about this.
Have you ever had to cut a capital gain check on the sale of a property? It is so painful.
Yeah,
It is so
It's horrible.
painful.
It's awful.
You look at that check, you're like, what am I doing? What am I getting back for this? Like not me, just all of us together.
You get nothing
Nothing.
back.
Just one pothole maybe. When I gave that check, I'm like, I hope there's a pothole in the QEW that gets filled because of all. And I don't,
Such a myth. The roads, it's a myth. The roads are shit. Everything's shit. Healthcare is shit. Go to the hospital. Like, you need something, you're screwed. You can't get a doctor.
God.
It's all broken.
somebody was in the Oakville hospital. They were in that supplementary area that doesn't even have drywall. It's like it's still under construction. You know what it was? It was JP. I don't want to say which.
I didn't even know they have an area that's still not even done.
Yeah, I guess it was so
Galbus?
so busy. And
No, the JP?
Come on.
There's a few.
There's a few
Now we just eliminated one of them, but one of them was there just temporarily for the day, but he was calling someone and he was describing where he is. And he's like, there's unfinished ceiling above me. There's unfinished drywall to the left. This is in Oakville. It's that building right next to the hospital. He was pushed over into there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's, like it's basically like a construction site. And
We shouldn't laugh, man. It's like it's.
We don't laugh, we're going to cry, Nick.
I just like the studies that they do. Every time I read, I'm like, okay, so we're going to embark on it. Like, there's a budget, like a big announcement in the budget.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to have a study to see what to do about this. You know, we've allocated $50 million to this. I'm like, well, there's $50 million out the window. Like, you might as well just set it on fire on the lawn because it's going to get way more attention if you do it that way.
at least we could have fun watching it burn.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody wants to watch your committee.
Speaking of watching it burn, I wanted to mention, like, I'm listening to, do you guys ever listen to Dan Carlin, Hardcore History?
No, I know all about this. But
Yeah.
everybody,
Freaking amazing.
I know.
I
It'll
really
change
should.
your life.
Yeah.
A lot of people have mentioned it to me. I really should because I like some of that
I
stuff.
have one of the
It should
episodes.
be school.
Yeah.
Like that, you just send a kid to school. Here, download all this and listen to it. Like, it's so amazing. But I just listened to the series on the fall of Rome.
Oh, that would be awesome. I bet.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you know what? These were the hallmarks of the fall of Rome. Feminization of the men. Check. Men are having babies in menstrual cycles now, quote unquote. Devaluation of the currency, stupid wars, and putting political opponents in jail relentlessly. So by the time Caesar was in power, you couldn't leave office, because when you were in office, you were immune to prosecution. But the day you retired, left public service, you were in jail. Your opponents would put you in jail. So, you know, if you had to do whatever you had to do to stay a public employee, you did, even if you were, you know, Caesar level, you know. So a lot of scary parallels to what we're seeing today.
And a lot, and on top of that, a lot of the citizenry of Rome began to leave because what they were getting in return, I didn't plan to have this discussion, in return for their tax dollars was so little. They started leaving Rome because they were like, screw it. I would rather just leave and become a farmer than stay in Rome because I'm getting nothing here. And then when Rome did fall apart, all these people fell into a feudal system with feudal lords then collecting taxes from their farming. So kind of Rome fell apart. They go into, and this is the dark ages of Italy and Europe during that time. And it was actually Florence with the minting of the florin and the gold coin.
The Medici, Lorenzo the Magnificent.
I'm going to Florence next week. I'm so excited to go to Florence next week, and because the Medici family literally pulled Italy out of the dark ages.
That's right. They were God's bankers.
Now I got to, why do you,
why do I know this?
Yeah.
Well,
and then Venice copied them with the ducat, remember? And then they could trust each other and trade.
Yeah.
And then all of Europe started getting on board. Like it literally fell into the dark ages because of inflation and what the Romans did. I mean, they had a great empire.
Yeah.
But then like every great empire, they bite off too much. They inflate the currency. It all goes to hell.
So I'm a huge fan of not only Machiavelli, but also the family that inspired him was the Borgia family. Cesare Borgia. Cesare Borgia was a 26-year-old maverick, and a lot of bad things have been written about the guy. But when you really study his life, it's fascinating. He almost unified all of Italy. The guy had a set of balls on him this big.
What era is this?
This is late 1400s, early 1500s. Okay. His father was Pope Alexander VI. So these guys had a real stranglehold on the armies and the culture all the time. And he was really Borgia was really sharp because they were born Spaniards, and so what would happen was like if because the papal armies were not significant, right? And none of the Italian armies, the feudal armies, were compared to any national armies. So if he had any trouble with anybody, he would call in the Spanish army. Hey, come on in and blah 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 blah, and get a treaty. And then when he needed to get the Spanish out, he'd go to the French and say, hey, come on in here and get these guys out of here. And all, so he played those two countries off really brilliantly, and all the different feudal lords and all that sort of thing. There's his biography by Raphael Sabatini is an unbelievable read if you ever want to read something on, but that paved the way for Machiavelli, and Machiavelli modeled The Prince after Cesare Borgia. So a lot of the principles in The Prince was modeled after him watching Borgia, and he wrote The Prince to kiss Lorenzo Medici's ass. Oh, right. So it was like, here's a prescription on how you should, be ruling and what you can do to stay in power. And now, please pat me on the head, or whatever. He was really just trying to suck up to the Medici family. Wow. So you're going to go there. I went there to see Machiavelli's tomb. That's why I went there. I wanted to see it.
No way.
It's the coolest
little town. Carol, my wife has family there.
Let me give you a little tip, and I'm sure if they have family there, they're going to know. But at sunset, you go to the Piazzale Michelangelo, which is a viewing platform right on the Arno. It's kind of elevated. It's got the worst restaurants in Italy. Don't eat there. But when the sun goes down at a certain angle, it turns the whole Arno River gold. It's the most amazing view. You got right across from you got the dome. It's pure magic. Go there with your wife at sunset. It's freaking awesome.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's a cool town.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
When they first minted that coin, that florin in the Medici, sometimes I think about this. I'm like, when that coin first came out, and someone said, hey, take this coin and give me those like 5 cows. And they exchanged that coin for 5 cows, right? Gold coin, but that's still pretty new. So that, I knew it was stamped, so it had some authority to it. And it was a certain amount of grams, however many grams of gold it was. But the next day they probably used that gold coin and somebody else gave them maybe 8 cows. But then the next day, maybe 3 cows. And that's my way of saying there was no price history. So there was a real volatility in this gold coin. And then it takes tens of years and hundreds of years to smooth it out. And I'm tying this back to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's very Austrian, what you're saying. Very Austrian economics.
I was laughing. I'm like, this here, this is the transition to Tom's Bitcoin talk.
Because sometimes people laugh at the volatility of Bitcoin. I'm like, this thing came out in 2009. Yeah. It's 2023. Yeah. Can you have a little patience with this thing? Do you think the florin came out and it just standardized on 12 cows that same day? Like, here's the florin. Everywhere around Italy, they're going to accept 12 cows for this florin. That's bullshit. It takes some time. You need a price history. So anyway.
But that's Austrian economics, and that's all the prominent Bitcoiners are big Austrian, they're not Keynesians.
I don't even like to call it Austrian economics. It's economics. This other fucking shit. Sorry.
It's been shoved down our throat.
Keynesian fucking bullshit, lies, theft, Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
Like, 100%. I'm just done with it. I don't even like it when people don't call it a Ponzi scheme anymore. It's just
an insult to Ponzi schemes.
Well, I mean, if
some good Ponzi schemes out there, you get in on the top.
I remember our father was in that. Where that, like, you recruit one guy to have 10,000. Do you
Pyramids.
remember those? Sorry, thank you. The pyramid scheme, and he got out of it. One of them, right? You recruit people, and then he went.
He got paid.
He got paid, but then he went right back in, and it was a bigger one.
Never do that.
And guess what? He didn't get paid.
No, nobody ever gets paid.
I remember the meeting in our basement. Do you remember? No. All coming over. I was like, what? I remember. Oh yeah, in the basement, right by the bar in our basement.
That's
all
great.
Meeting, and that was the day he got paid. And then he hosted a meeting, and it went bigger, and then nothing happened. He lost the money.
Those would come around every couple years.
That's right.
For a while.
Are they still? Are they?
I don't know. I haven't heard of one for a while now.
Shit.
Everything's online now. Right?
Everything's online. It's a different version.
Shit coin, right?
Yeah. It's a different version.
Well, yeah. Now you just send people. Now it's just fraud. Now it's just you send people money, you get nothing back.
Now it's straight fraud.
Yeah.
What do you make of XRP? Speaking of shit coins.
Yeah.
I mean, not the coin itself, but the ruling. Yeah.
To me, it's a reflection of the U.S. government just in complete confusion, doesn't know what to do with all of this. Like they're saying that if it was sold to the public and the retailer, then that's not a security. But the initial launch of it was a security. And so I can kind of see both those answers. But like, where are they headed with this? Now it's going to be appealed.
Yeah. It's going to be appealed. It's going to take years.
It's going to take, it seems like a disaster. So I guess my take on it is that it's still a disaster.
Same with the Coinbase. If you've been looking at the Coinbase stuff too.
Yeah.
Because the judge is coming out and saying, well, I mean, how were they supposed to know that basically they were shit coins?
Yeah.
How were they supposed to know they were securities if you didn't tell them?
When I was in a big corporation like Oracle, there's different big management teams in there, and they're all fighting internally. Like one big management team's trying to take the sales of an area from a different management team, and they have different views on how they should go to market inside the company. And there's these power struggles within the company. That's what's happening in the U.S. government to me. There's no one leader. It's these different groups all thinking, oh, we should rule this way. And then, oh no, my lobbyist gave me this much money. I think we should call it a security this way.
Yeah.
And I think there's just these fights internally, and it's so big and so corrupt and so spaghetti.
But there's definitely an agenda against them. Elizabeth Warren's definitely leading the charge against them. Even in Canada, like some real shitty things are happening with the exchanges. So Kevin O'Leary is really rising to prominence. He's got WonderFi, his company.
Yeah, they bought BitBuy.
But what they're doing with these exchanges is they're working with the government to really make life hard for anyone else who starts an exchange. Like you get mafia'd if you try to start an exchange.
Why, you know people who've
I 100% know people who own exchanges in some capacity. They're not straight retail, but I know guys that are business owners in the space, and they're scared to death to get to go for a full exchange license because they're going to get mafia'd by the government.
Well, especially now because they need to track everything, so they want to be all over it.
The government wants one neck to strangle, and Kevin O'Leary's like saying, let it be my neck, because he's going to make money doing it.
Oh, so he's trying to be the de facto standard here in Canada.
100%.
Oh, they haven't just bought BitBuy. They've bought a few smaller ones.
Yeah,
too.
and he's lockstep with the government, saying, yeah, let's fuck everybody up that tries to get.
Oh, is he? Haven't been trying.
100%.
Really?
Yeah. Ugh is right. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that guy at all.
Neither am I. No. Jesus. No. So
it's very discouraging, actually, to hear. So
you can use when we started talking to the guys at Bull Bitcoin. Have you used them? Because they're not an exchange, but you can buy through them.
At which?
At Bull Bitcoin.
Never heard of them.
Because they send
Bull Bitcoin.
Look at my T-shirt.
Oh, dude. My logo at the club is
look,
Bull.
He's wearing a Tahini shirt. I'm wearing Mission.
Oh, look at that shirt. I don't know why I didn't even read it before. Cool.
We're on. Hey,
Ooh, I love
tahinis.
that.
We're all.
Dude, I need that. Where do I get that?
You know
What
what?
size are you wearing?
You know what?
Switch.
We actually have some updates on that coming. Yeah. You like? I know. I felt the same way.
Great shirt. I love it.
I felt the same way.
I have an idea for a shirt. I don't want to say, but I want to sell a T-shirt. That's on my list.
Hey, we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah.
I got a list.
It's my Noster handle is the brand I want to start for Bitcoin apparel. Yeah.
Oh,
What is it? Are you going to say it?
No, I can't because someone's going to punk me. I'll tell you after though.
Yeah. Then Nick's gonna go and punk you.
That's okay.
I got enough stuff I got to do, man.
He's gonna put you in a rear naked joke, and that'll be it.
I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow. By the time I'm gone, this is going to be in one ear out of the other.
I forget what we were talking about. I do want to ask you what's going on in Perth.
Perth, Ontario, our first affiliate club for Pasador Jiu-Jitsu. So we had a student move out there, and he started a school, and he's rocking now. Little town of Perth, I don't know, 6,000-7,000.
So for people who don't know, tell us what do you do in Niagara?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Pasador Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's our school.
Don't you have 2 locations?
Well, now we do.
Okay. I thought you had a second one before.
We were going to open a second one, and then COVID had other plans for that. So the students that were going to open that got real scared real quick. Even at the tail end of COVID, they're like, I don't know if I want to put this kind of money out. And then the government does this again, right? So, there was the lockdowns, and then there was the time after where everyone was still just like, well, we don't know if this is going to happen again, right? So that shit canned that. But, we got the second location up and running now. And
so it's open.
It's open, yeah.
He's recruiting their students.
Oh, God, yeah.
Awesome.
He told me the other day, I was there a month ago for the grand opening, and he said, yeah, I'm going to sign a 2-year lease. And I said, don't. And I counted the number of students, and I looked at his space, and I said, in 2 months, you're going to need a bigger space.
No way.
So I was with him like 2 days ago, and he's like, I'm not signing that 2 year. He needs a bigger space. It's really growing quickly there.
That's a great problem. Yeah. So what's the state of BJJ in Ontario? Like, is it there are people interested? Is this
booming?
Why?
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and Jocko and all those guys, everybody comes to me and says, I keep hearing about this on these podcasts. I want to see what it's all about.
I didn't think about that.
Dude, he's my marketing department.
Yeah.
I haven't spent a cent on marketing since before COVID, not just one penny.
Riding a trend. You're talking about riding a trend.
Yep.
Like, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what about the ages? Because I feel like I've heard of like some older guys now hey, I'm going to start BJJ. I'm like, holy shit, man.
My oldest guy is 55. He's an attorney from Niagara Falls.
I was just going to say, I know 50.
He's a beast.
Really?
He's an old wrestler, and he comes in and just tears it up.
Who's a bigger beast? The realtor you mentioned earlier, or this guy?
He's not that kind of beast.
Oh, they're different beasts.
He's a sales and deal making beast. But no, he's a tough old dude, and you don't always have to train like that. You don't have to grind it out. But these old wrestlers, that's what they do, right? So, we're getting people of all ages, and you can stick to the classes that are easier, and then you can come into the ones where the Shark Tanks and test yourself. So people can choose their own path. We have so many classes that we offer, so different paths to be taken, but it's all the same benefit, right?
Mike's 2 young boys are in it. They love it. Mike says they love it. They absolutely love it.
Awesome. Best thing you can do for kids. And the reason is obviously fitness, discipline, focus, and all that sort of thing, self-defense, but the real gem in jiu-jitsu is when it's incredibly complicated, as these sequences and trying to recall these steps even when you're drilling can be really tough, because if you do something imperfectly, then that's the out for the other guy. That's their chance to escape. And but when someone's trying to put their hands around your neck or break your leg or whatever, and you got to think under insane pressure, you have to recall these sequences and execute them. So thinking under pressure is the real gem that jiu-jitsu gives you, and you do that to a kid or even an adult. Nothing else in life is really difficult. Someone putting pressure on you, someone yelling at you, a tough situation.
I wonder if that's why you've been able to handle so much chaos, because Frank handles a lot of chaos.
Dude, I get attacked for a living every day. Someone's trying to get
That's
me.
one thing I found early on. Is that I had a couple friends started when I was doing it. I mean, this is a long time ago now, but they would, one guy that came in, is still a good friend of mine.
You went from the bench press at Gold's to rolling on a mat, thinking that you were going to take somebody down.
No. This was after. I was doing it for a couple of years. I was able to check my ego. It's the same way I started CrossFit and stuff like that. After you check your ego pretty quick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm joking. So, I know you checked.
But but he would, when we started and we were rolling, he was all tight and he was just really stressed. I'm like, dude, just relax. You got to relax. And I think one thing that's it's a good point that you take for granted is it forces you to think but stay calm under that pressure and have to think.
Yeah.
And I think that's something people mistake, because as soon as you tighten up and you get, you start to panic in those situations, you're finished. Like
this is why jiu-jitsu is so effective. It relies on people who don't train to have that visceral response of being tense. So little details, like when you grab with your thumb, grabbing a grip with your thumb, you engage so many muscles in your forearm that the lactic acid is coming quick.
Build, yeah.
Right. So your tense inclinations will produce lactic acid. You'll blow out in a minute or two, and then you're dead. But someone who knows how to grip will use their two middle fingers. They'll make a hook, turn their wrist, and now you have a hook that's hooked around a garment or even a body part. And then now it's more like a clamp, and then it's not something you're constantly putting pressure to keep tight. So these little nuances are designed so that a 120-pound female can survive and defend against a 210-pound male, get them tired, and then escape or submit or
Run.
Yeah, sure. For girls and children, that's what we teach. That's what I teach my kids. I teach
Guys
them,
can run too. It's okay to run.
I teach that. Yeah. Well, what fun would that be? But we teach our kids, I'm very strict with my messaging with the kids. You never put submissions on other kids. Like, you don't screw around. Like, if you put a submission on, you only do it and you negotiate. You never punch. You never do this. You never do that. But, if an adult's trying to take you don't know who they are, a stranger. You can punch, you can kick, you can bite, you can put your fingers in there, you can do whatever you need to. So that's the messaging at the gym.
So
but other than
do
that,
you have kids classes as well?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, God.
And does the Perth Combat Club have kids classes
Yep.
yet?
Yeah.
You do as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's big for kids. I've offered it to my girls. They just don't show interest, but I'd like.
How old are your girls?
12, almost 13 soon.
So that's the magic age where they kind of drift away from it. Even if they were doing it as 8, 9-year-olds, they hit that 12, 13-year-olds. You let them go and you hope they come back.
Yeah.
I would suspect it's very hard to recruit a 12 or 13-year-old into that.
How about for boys? What are the age patterns?
The boys, it's not the same. When girls become girls,
Yeah.
wrestling with boys, your
rolling
puberty's
around.
coming in.
Totally could see it.
Yeah, it gets a little weird. But my daughter's turned 6 in 2 weeks, and
Awesome.
she finally has gone from a little kid playing jiu-jitsu to now like
I want to choke some
blood.
Yeah.
I want blood, picking up boys and throwing them on their heads. And
Did you start with jiu-jitsu or were you judo?
No, I started in Jeet Kune Do, JKD, the Bruce Lee system.
Oh, okay.
But I'm really not built for that kind of thing. It was just the only thing that was around in 1994.
Where were you taking that? Very few people were taking that anywhere.
But in St. Catharines, we had actually 2 really good instructors. But what they did was they brought Hicks and Gracie up for a seminar, because there was a grappling component to Jeet Kune Do, shoot fighting. But they knew Hicks and Gracie through
Hicks and Gracie came up.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
the King, right?
Wow.
And then the Niagara Falls Gymnastics Club. And I remember thinking, I'm like, my buddies, they're like, it's $60 for the seminar. I'm like, I'm not paying $60.
Rip off.
I'm in bed. I'm like, fuck those guys. My phone rings and it's my buddy, and he's like, you got to get down here now and see what this guy's doing. And I'm like, okay. I get down there. I jump into the seminar a few minutes late, but I jump in and I see him killing everybody, including my instructors. And then I was like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And literally a week later, I was in California, but I did judo in Japan when I moved in 99, 2000.
You went in California a week later to train with him?
I was at I trained at the Gracie Academy. I was at Hoysa's school.
Huh.
Yeah. But Hickson was very, very.
A week later for real? That's how that's
For real.
You jumped in?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hickson was very hard to pin down to get lessons, and he was, even at the time, he was $500 an hour, and for the most was just like, if you were like not in his gym, it was like private sessions.
Got it.
I didn't have that kind of money, and just pinning him down was really tough. So the Gracie Academy was a big academy, a big school. They welcomed us with open arms, and that's where we trained for the next
So you
12
went with
years.
a buddy?
My buddy Dan, yeah.
And then how long were you down there for? And then you kept going back?
I went the next 12 years. I was there several times a year, because what I did was I was my corporate job, right? I was selling sports fields, and they said to me, well, what do you want your sales territory to be? And I'm like, okay, how Florida and California? Like, okay. So, I mean, I picked the 2 best jiu-jitsu states, right? And so it was like,
And remind me how you ended up in Japan?
I just, my girlfriend at the time wanted to go.
Okay.
And we were between grad school. So like, she was going to go to teacher's college. I was going to go to law school. And we had that, let's take a year off kind of thing. And we were actually waiting for our acceptances, and she got accepted into teacher's college. She left after 3 months. And I was like, see you later. I'm not leaving. I stayed for the year. I didn't want to leave. And then I ended up not going
So
to law
many people
school.
say that about Japan. They just love it over there.
Paradise. That's more off the mic talk, but yeah, it's paradise.
More another offline.
Dude, I got some great stories. I could never tell. I don't even want to tell you guys some of these stories, and I know you pretty well. But it was a great. I slept maybe 20 hours that whole year. Like I did not sleep.
We're going right to your brewery, and we're going to start talking about these stories. Let's get the real stuff.
Oh man, that'd be great if you guys came down and we had some beers and
we should definitely book something.
He should probably do it sooner rather than later.
Why?
Jail.
Oh shit! Talk about that later. Okay.
Look, if there's no jail involved when we get back in a month or so, we'll be there.
Well, you let me know and I'll update you.
Did we cover what you wanted to talk? We mentioned Bitcoin. Did you want to talk about something?
I just I know you're on board, Nick, but you were always kind of the skeptic and stuff like that, and I don't see how the BlackRock and Vanguard developments don't guarantee. I don't want to say hyper Bitcoinization, but don't guarantee $250,000 a coin in 5 years.
Mm. I know a lot of people are throwing big numbers out now.
Well, we know the money printers are coming back. Mm-hmm. They're going to come back with a vengeance. And BlackRock bought, I think I read 12,000 coins, and plus they filed for the ETF.
I know they filed. I didn't know how many coins.
I don't know that.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I did read it.
Did you see what's Robert Kennedy Jr. said last night?
Awesome.
Did you see that?
Awesome.
So for anyone who doesn't know, he said that if he becomes president, all Bitcoin sales would be capital gains exempt.
Yeah.
And that he would back U.S. treasuries with a tiny amount of hard currency, about 1% or something like that. But that his family, through the decades, have always believed you need a hard money there because fiat just encourages war and is the money of war.
I don't think
so. This guy is never going to become president. Yeah. Let's face it. The poor guy's putting his life on the line.
Well, he says it. He basically said, like you're not even joking that he's probably going to get shot. Like, I don't see how that. It sounds bad to say.
His family has a history of getting.
Because they seem
for this kind of behavior.
Well,
right?
they seem to be fighting for the right things.
I know. I don't agree with him on everything.
I don't either. He says some stuff. I'm like, what, really?
But these core issues, like the whole no wars thing and the whole sound money thing, like that's pretty much it for me.
But you don't have to agree with him. Like I don't agree with anyone on even like
that's true.
The person that I feel like's been like, I don't even know who that would be, but if someone's been the best politician ever, I'm not going to agree with anyone on everything.
Yeah.
But compared to the alternatives, like what are the alternatives? Like what seriously are the alternatives of people that seem to have like a little bit of thought and aren't just following the same old flipping roadmap that we've going down, that's just pure corruption and bullshit.
Because if people were smart, they would understand that, especially for your kids. Like we need hard money. Like it's the biggest issue because it's linked to wars. It's linked to so many problems in the world. Like if people just woke up and just like I watched Joe Biden yesterday in that with the Israeli president,
and he fell asleep.
He looked like he was in mid sentence. He was all curled over and reading his freaking cards and everything. And I'm just like,
I didn't know if that was
this
real.
Is a good idea.
I was like, is that a real?
But how are you like at the ballot box going, oh yeah, this guy, another 6 years, another 4 years, but
because people are just picking tribes now. This is my tribe. It doesn't matter who the leader is. No one's thinking on critically thinking about the issues. It's just I'm part of this group. That's it. I want to belong.
I'm very disappointed. Sometimes it's hard to keep up the good fight when it's like everyone's just so fucking dumb. I don't care.
I think
they are.
I think
except for the listeners.
Have you read Atlas Shrugged?
No.
You're primed to read Atlas Shrugged.
What is it?
You don't know Ayn Rand's book Atlas Shrugged? There's a 3-part. For anyone
I didn't know the book,
but I know monster. It's a monster book, Atlas Shrugged. And if it's intimidating, Amazon Prime made a 3-part movie series of the book. It's a little bit cheesy. You could tell it didn't have the biggest budget, and they changed the cast on every episode. Absolutely watch Atlas Shrugged.
I like audiobooks.
Series.
I like audiobooks. Okay, so if Audible has it, I'll get it.
Yeah, it's all about people who are productive in society pulling out of society and saying all you people are on your own, and it's a story of what happens to the rest of society
I love
when
that.
all the people who produce say, you know what, and to me, when they say, you know what, we're out, and to me, when you engage in Bitcoin, that is what you're doing. You're basically
Opting
saying,
out.
I'm out of the fiat system, I'm going to put my time and effort into this other new system, and good luck to everyone out there, and it's going to result in everybody out there having to print more money, and they're going to, it's going to be difficult when the politicians think they can print their way to prosperity. You cannot print.
Do you think they believe that?
I don't think they understand anything. I think they don't understand.
You really don't think that, eh?
That what?
Like, is there not one pragmatic economist that says, look, like the debt spiral in the U.S., like it's just, I hate to sound
but they can't serve.
it's just math.
Get 100 people outside and ask them.
I'm not talking people. I'm talking the politicians at the highest level. Someone's got to be telling them like there's just no solution to this.
No, I think they might understand, but they need to serve their interests.
I get that. That's a whole different part of the argument.
But that's what they're after. That's their incentive.
So
they don't care long term.
Okay, so the highest level. Let's go. So you think Trudeau knows this? That's the highest level. You think
we can't.
Freeland knows
I'm
this?
just saying, how can you not?
Not the highest level of intellect, the highest level of government.
Pierre Poilievre seems to know.
Because
so
he's a Bitcoiner.
Sure. So
you know what?
That's fair.
He just doesn't talk about it.
Well, you know what's really interesting? Because when we spoke to him and his wife, because of what his wife's family went through in South America.
You spoke to who?
To
Pierre and his wife. She's from Venezuela.
You did? Where?
When we were...
Can't tell you. Hey, offline. Frank, offline.
Fine. But just before, so I don't mean to butt in, Nick, but I'm pretty sure it was on your show, one of Greg Foss's early episodes, where he said he was consulting with a prominent up-and-coming politician, and we all know who that was. I know damn well who that was. It was Pierre. But he doesn't brag about it, right? Because everyone's going to go, you're nuts. Right? Sorry.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I don't even know where we were.
When you were talking, you your wife... And
just what they went through in what her family went through in South America. So they've seen it. And when you've seen that and you understand that, now if you grow up in Canada in a sheltered system, you've never seen that.
100%.
You don't believe it's possible. You might see it on the news, but it doesn't even seem real. So you don't believe that type of
but you believe it now?
crashing in the currency.
Do you believe it now when you're you're paying $30 for a steak, or you're paying $9
One of our best mentors say most adults have their umbilical cord sticking out and are looking to plug in somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're babies.
And I still don't think people look at that. Yeah.
You're going to see me saying that on Twitter, because my bio is explainer to adult babies, right? So that's part of my bio on Twitter.
But people still don't look at it as the value of the dollar going down. They look at its prices going up. Everyone that talks about real estate it's always about the prices going up.
And I'm like, what's changed? The lumber, the brick, the mortar? Nothing's changed. The dollars that it cost you to buy the property changed, but very few people can see that.
The Canadian government is one thing they're very smart at, is saying we don't print money, but they don't talk about how asset swaps work. And that's really how the government prints money. They'll create assets.
And we're generalizing. When we say print money, we're just generalizing.
That's right.
Like, hey, you print money.
Yeah.
We can get into the
expansion
nitty-gritty.
M2.
Yeah. We can get into the nitty-gritty details of QE and asset swapping.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the Jedi Knight is going to conclude, I understand everything, and it's printing money. Yeah. It's all the same.
And there's no free stuff.
No
such thing as free stuff.
But to what you were saying earlier, like I guess, I was coming across as more negative of Bitcoin.
I don't say negative, but just cautious.
No, what is it?
Prudent.
In every investment decision I make,
Yeah.
I always try to take the opposing view as well, because I want to try to understand the opposing view to see if I can agree with it or live with it. So in everything I do, I'm like, okay, so what's the shit side of this?
Yeah.
And how does this work if this bad thing happens or this bad thing happens? So with Tom, when Tom was having some conversations, he's like, well, look, it's going to be like this, this, and this, and it's all like, what I agreed with. I'm like, okay, but let me just, I wanted to just think out loud about the flip side of it, even though I thought the chances of some of that stuff happening were small.
Okay, so full circle, BlackRock takes this big position. Vanguard buys a half $500 million in a mining stock company for Bitcoin. Like those have got to be two.
The danger, a long-term gold guy, would be someone with BlackRock selling paper Bitcoin that they don't really own. The positive of that is that it's easily auditable. And if a company like Fidelity, who's very pro Bitcoin, says we're going to have an ETF and here's our public addresses, or here's the way to audit us, it would be difficult for BlackRock not to do the same.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty bullish on it, but there's a little bit of skepticism.
The fixed supply really helps with that.
Yeah. So, and the fact that we can audit it really easily, because the ETFs right now, what are you going to go into some gold vault and try to count the bars? It's kind of, it's difficult. Whereas now this is digitally open to everyone. So I'm cautiously very optimistic.
It's definitely,
I love that.
Well, it's definitely a good, it's a positive sign.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been approved yet, so we'll see. I think the chances of it getting approved are good now.
I don't think it even matters that if it gets approved. I think that they sent that signal, and if the purchase of the 12,000 Bitcoins is true, I don't care. If it doesn't happen, they're going to keep at it. And
well, every financial planner now who was skeptical of it before can now say,
that's right.
Well, BlackRock filed for an ETF.
You should have a position. You should have you're one of your buckets, right?
It becomes, now they can, but now they can all talk, because before that, without the ETF, the guys at like the RBC Wealth, CIBC, all these guys, they couldn't sell it, talk about it, anything. So it changes it.
It's the same pattern. Like when the internet came out, nobody said you're going to put your banking data in the internet. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're not going to do online banking. It's not possible. When VoIP came out, people were like, oh, well, I'm never going to get rid of my home phone. Like I need my home phone. And then VoIP comes. When mobile came out, everyone's like, well, I'm not going to get my important company or corporate data on my mobile phone. I'm not going to do inventory control on my mobile phone. Now there's tablets connected to the internet everywhere. Yeah. The pattern just kind of repeats. The digitization of everything is in effect. And now we're digitizing the base layer of the economy. The thing that says price signals between every transaction we do. When I buy ugly Pike Pilsner and I'm doing that exchange, it's the money in between that's signaling
every transaction in multiple countries.
Globally.
Globally. Like that's what changes between countries.
But it's funny, you said the banks and buying and businesses buying. What businesses have been doing is they've been using MicroStrategies as a de facto ETF to pick up a position, right? Because their boards won't let them buy Bitcoin in custody yet. So what do? You've got BlackRock and Vanguard, something in and around 14%. Stakeholders in MicroStrategy.
Oh, is that what they are now?
Yeah, which is
I knew BlackRock.
Disturbing.
You would like
that is a little bit disturbing.
So when Michael Saylor's out there and everyone's like, Saylor, I'm like, I don't know, but this is the mechanism now. So if you look at even if I have that Vanguard number wrong, I don't know. I don't think I do. But even if I know I have the BlackRock number right, but even if you look at that alone, they're picking up a position in MicroStrategy. They don't care about internet software. They're not buying MicroStrategy. They're buying it for MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin company now that happens to sell internet security software, right?
Even if they're coming out of it, just a hedge of against the fiat dollar, which they know they're going to have to print more of.
But that's what they're doing. They see the writing on the wall. Those guys aren't stupid.
No,
they know they know that the $1 billion pile of cash that they're sitting on is a melting iceberg. They know more than anybody.
It's a rare opportunity we've had, and it still exists, that we've been able to front run the big players, like the retail person, the
That's what sold me on it the first time when I heard that line. I was like, I'm very interested in this now.
Yeah, I bought last week again. Little DCA.
I have some dollar. Same. I bought today.
Did you really?
Well, I have some DCA running where it's just like
automatic.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
You must like the sequence of events that led to BlackRock, though, how they shut down all these other applications. No.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally it gets big enough. There's enough talk about it. They go after Coinbase to shut down try to shut down all these other coins.
But this isn't a true spot ETF though, right? That's what I'm reading. That's not a true spot.
I didn't look into the details.
There's something weird about it.
It's not a trust. No. I don't think it's that.
I didn't drill down.
But imagine, going back to you talking about the Medici family, imagine we got to live in Florence when they coined the florin.
I would love.
But no, we're here now.
Yeah. Oh,
with Bitcoin.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
We're here now. And sometimes when you get frustrated about politics and the way the world is, if you reflect on the positive, that we're here during this era.
Yeah.
We're like in Florence.
Yeah.
When they coined, coined the florin. Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah.
So Frank, we got to be happy, dude. What
Sometimes it's hard to look up and find the optimism, right?
With everything you have going on,
ignorance is bliss. I wish I was just a little dumber sometimes.
Ignorance,
you know what I mean?
Bliss,
some people are really happy,
Yeah, it's like when we started business. If we knew everything that had to be done with Rockstar to get to this point, we probably would have looked at that and said, "God, fuck that shit, man."
Well, I'm going through that with the beer right now, right?
Yeah. But when you're
into an event management and media company,
publishing company,
we just had our first meeting with a social media company, a media/social media management company that we're gonna have to hire. We're gonna have to hire some salespeople, so it's turning into a heavy lift. But we're a victim of our own success, so these are good things.
Frank, anything else to be chatting about? I think we covered most of the things I had on my list.
No, I'm satisfied.
Yeah. We could talk with
I'd
you
like to tell people where to get the beer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you know what? The best thing is just to order online right now. Ugly Pike, uglypikebrewing.com, and the shipping costs are surprisingly low. You can get it delivered to your door. We're slowly populating into Loblaws franchises now. So if you go to our website, uglypikebrewing.com, you can see an interactive map. One of the issues is that the beer stores feed the supermarkets for the most, and we're selling quickly out of the beer stores. So we're having a little trouble with inventory management and keeping product on the shelves, which is again a great thing. And I'm sure we'll rectify that in the coming weeks. We're working hard on it.
So if somebody buys the beer at uglypikebrewing.com and takes a picture out of it, do you guys have an Instagram handle they can tag you with?
Ugly Pike Brewing, yeah.
Ugly Pike.
Yeah, Ugly Pike
on Instagram.
Brewing.
Okay.
Yeah, by all means, tag us and send us a message, whatever. And we're really positioning this as the outdoor beer. Beer, cottage fish, camp.
You do door-to-door deliveries, like you personally. You should deliver. People would love that, dude. You show up at the door.
Depends.
You can talk about BJJ. You can talk about some Bitcoin.
No, carrying a fish, carrying a muskie. Is it muskie? Muskie.
Muskie, yeah.
And we'll get him a t-shirt that says, I'm a professional angler. So when he shows up, there's no doubt.
Well, they're going to know if I show up with a fish. They're going to have a strong suspicion that there's a pro before them.
So uglypikebrewing.com and what else? Podcast, Ugly Pike Podcast. Just
yeah, you know what? If you just go to Ugly Pike Podcast, there's you get two options: beer and podcast. And
that's right.
The beer will take you to brewing.com, and the podcast will keep you on podcast. And we have our embedded players. You can listen to the show. We're on every podcast app. And but I mean, if you don't fish, you're probably going to hate it. But if you fish, you're going to really like it. So
no, I think now that we know what you're all about, or anyone listening to this, they're going to love it even more because they're going to listen to you talking about fishing. Going,
it's a great
can't
show.
wait. This guy's going to talk about the Medici family, right?
Yeah,
now.
right.
He's
Anything's going to happen in a second.
Family in the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And then when are you going to be on? When do you think you're going to be on? You're going to be on TV? You think?
Well, they've signaled to us that they want to get us on a show. So yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen.
6 months, maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. We were pushing them to do it. My partner lives overseas and he's here for 6 weeks. So we were pushing it, but I don't think we're going to be able to pull that off. But the beer, the actual mentioning of our brand and everything, that's going to happen in the fall. When you say be on TV, I'm really hoping we get invited onto an episode of the show. So, and I think that'll happen too, because they don't often do muskie, because you can't really have a TV show for muskie fishing when you never catch anything. So,
and then it's on us to go to Croatia this year and ask around who we can get a boat that's suited to go tuna fishing, or even other fishing. If we can get a fisherman, like just a proper boat, then to report back to Frank, because to be able to do that 1 year, that would be like a job.
That'd be cool.
That would be a great trip.
That'd be
fishing with Frank.
Bluefin are wild, man. They're
Nick and I would be useless, but Frank would be there, so we would.
No, I'll stock the cooler and I'll deliver.
I could help pull in a tuna.
Yeah.
I could help pull in a tuna.
We can import some beer ahead of time. And, I'll send a shipment over. And
that'd make it even better. That'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah, think about the pictures for social media I could get. Yeah,
there you go. It's a
always
business. It's a business expense.
That's right.
Frank, man, always appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
In. Thank you, dude.
All right.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find every new episode of the Your Life, Your Term show on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And if you'd like to get free copies of some of the books that we've put together, like these right here, or some of the reports that we've put together, like these right here, you can find all of those at www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.